Welcome to this gathering hosted by the Unitarian Universalist Church of Bowling Green. Whether you are here in person or online, we are so glad that you are joining us. My name is Christina, and I'll be your service associate today. As you can see, we're a little different than normal, but this is one of our UU Festival, which is Illumination. We have gone through the darkest time of the year. The solstice has passed, the days grow longer, and we are here to celebrate the return of the light. Just a quick reminder so we can be in spirit and to set your cell phones to silence so we can fully be present with one another. We will be live streamed today, so you might be on camera, so if you're comfortable with that. We are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, however you identify, wherever you come from, and whoever you love, you are welcome here. Our Sunday services are a little bit different every week so that we can honor and learn from our wide array of traditions and beliefs. Today, our speaker is James Miller. For Unitarian Universalists, the flaming chalice is a symbol of the light of learning and the love of our community. As our chalice is lit, or as our congregation's chalice is lit, we invite you to light your own chalice at home. Let's see. We light this chalice today to illuminate our way toward love. Inside the womb of the waiting time, we are bathed in sounds, floating in love, growing outside of our comfort zone. As we experience love, sorrow, joy, and pain and joy, there is a numinous quickening as we wait a new world yet to be unborn. If you'll join me by singing Rise Up, O Flame. This morning's opening reading is called We Are Waiting. This is the season of anticipation, of expecting, of hoping, of wanting. This is the time of expecting the arrival of something or someone. We are waiting. This is the time of living in darkness, in the hues of the unknowing, of being quiet, of reflecting on a year almost past. Waiting for a new beginning, for a closing or an end. This is the time for digesting the lessons of days gone past, anticipating the future for which we are waiting. Waiting for a world which can know justice, waiting for a lasting peace, waiting for a bridge to span the divides which separate us, waiting for a promise or a hope. For all of this, we are waiting. All right, our first hymn is going to be Awake Now, My Senses. Please rise in body and spirit. next week is a unison reading called Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is our fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritage. Never complete and never perfect. All right, next would be we'll sing the children out, but before they go, with this being a special service, we want to give them the opportunity to light a candle for our spiral. So before they go, there is LED candles over here. They can light one on the way out. They can start here and work their way out there. And, oh, sorry, thank you, Jean. And put one of the candles on the spiral. We will now have a few moments for meditation, reflection, and prayer. The singing bowl will lead us into the silence. After the silence, you're invited to join us in the song Spirit of Life, which is in hymnal 1, 2, 3, in the gray hymnal. The words will be on the screen as well. join me in a responsive reading. Today's reading is going to be The Growing Darkness by Viola Abbott. I will read the regular type, and please respond to the words in italics. As we move deeper into the season, there are some things we know. Fall brings darkness that cannot escape. The nights become colder and take on winter's chill. The leaves of the trees and the blades of grass try on new suits of yellow, orange, red, and brown. Life around us slowly retreats and goes to sleep. In the rest before renewal, the earth will remain, waiting, for the time that they are returned to us, the warmth and the light. Like I mentioned, today is a special Sunday. This is Illumination Sunday, and I'm going to invite James Miller up and talk about it a little bit.
So today is Illumination, and I'll be speaking a bit on that, but probably more about darkness. So a little word of warning, I have shrunken this and edited this down a few times, and it probably bears the scars of that process, trying to give some time for some other things. I'll start with another quote. This is the solstice, the still point of the sun, its cusp and midnight, the year's threshold and unlocking, where the past lets go of and becomes the future. From Margaret Atwood in Shape Changers in Winter. So if you know me, you know I'm not the biggest fan of winter. It's about as far north as I can live for any real amount of time. And the light's coming, and spring will eventually get here. I'm so happy about that. But there are a lot of signs that winter is actually coming. When I got up this morning, there was a touch of frost on the ground. Okay, the days are getting colder. We're technically past the solstice, so the days are technically getting longer, and the light is now coming. But again, that frost reminds me that there's a long road ahead. The light we find is a hope and a path to get us through the rest of the winter. There's another signal that it's truly winter, and that's static electricity. Everything shocks me. So I remember as a kid, we would shuffle across the floor toward another sibling, okay? Hopefully they didn't see us. And hopefully we were getting enough energy to cause an actual spark, right? We'll see how high they would jump, okay? Like some superhero or villain, just depending on which side of that spark you were on. I was reminded of this, something I'd long had forgotten about. A couple weeks ago, my son called me in his room, and he said he wanted to show me a light show. Okay, so if you know Emery, he's really into electronics. He has all these kits and wires, and it's a thing. If you come into my home, there's always some system taped to the wall with wires going everywhere. That is our decor, and that's just what we've accepted. So he directs me under a blanket. I'm like, okay, weird, but okay. And he starts to violently scratch the underside of this blanket. I was like, son, what's happening here? Then he looks at me like I'm the problem and says, you've got to put it over your head, got to all around you. And I'm a little frustrated because I'm like, look, I want to see these lights. I got things to do. I got to finish dinner. Once it's dark enough, I see that there's a light show. The sparks are sparking. The static on his fuzzy blanket is quite beautiful, actually. So he found something. He found something that I had long forgotten and something I had long missed. And if it wasn't for his direction, I probably never would have figured it out. Right? He could have done that for 3 days straight, and it wouldn't have come together for me that he was looking for a spark. So, we'll hold that for a second. So we often rightly look toward the light at this time of year. The darkness, though, is ever much a part of the season. In seeing the light, kind of as this symbol of knowledge and understanding can be tempting to see the dark as kind of its polar opposite, right? This evil type thing. Something to be feared and run from. After all, this illumination only kind of makes sense if it's coming to end a darkness. But the light that comes in the solstice does not come and extinguish the dark or the cold, at least not right away. What I want to reflect on for a moment is that the darkness, too, is sacred, a needed aspect in this season. So while darkness can be scary, a place we can't see, a place of the unknowns, the dark, it's also a place where we're still. A place that allows us to see the faint sparks of light that we can otherwise not see. Part of coming into fall and into winter is this increase of stillness, of slow. The dark is really that womb that begins a healing process, that enclosure, a process that we find the possibility of change and the seeds of healing. So darkness can be seen as a metaphor for ignorance, just as light can be seen as a metaphor for knowledge. And there is a concept of blessed ignorance, sometimes called holy ignorance. There's a form of ignorance that is needed, required to see this light. A form of darkness or unknowing that is needed to truly find the spark. It sounds a bit like a paradox, and it is. St. Cyril of Jerusalem says this, "For when speaking of things concerning God, to confess our ignorance is the best knowledge." This kind of knowing or shedding light on our ignorance itself is a form of knowledge. In the age of social media and the internet, this onslaught of information, of so-called knowledge, I think we could come up with a list of things that this would be true of. That our ignorance of it would be our best form of knowledge. To be aware of our limits, the limits of our knowledge, of what we can know, to begin with, is important because it lays the ground for our perceptions, knowing what we can and cannot know. Of course, the problem is that we are more wired as rationalizing creatures, with brains evolved to seek out patterns, to form habits based on those patterns. It's survival. It's understandable. It's all well and good until it's not. This overabundance of knowledge can be the antithesis of finding new knowledge and of new learning. Because, of course, we already know. I work with teaching teenagers in a high school, and if you ever worked with kids, this is a recurring issue. I know. You tell them, I know. I already know, right? That is the music of my day. And I'm not sure it's really just an issue with the youth. We do it differently, right? Our vocality is different, but we do it, okay? And our views are often flawed. And what's worse yet, we have the experience that tends to lend it weight if we're a little older. But I don't know that there's a huge difference between those two experiences. Again, this excess of knowledge can be the antithesis of hope, faith, forgiveness, reconciliation, healing, love. It can limit transformation that's available to us if we're not open to the idea that we don't know. We don't know how it may turn out. We don't know every possibility. If we can't admit that, then we can't be open to possibilities. And faith, hope, love, transformation, justice, it all requires a vision of possibilities, of openness. Possibilities in ourselves, possibilities with others and communities, that something could happen. Paul echoes this in 1 Corinthians 8. He says, "We know that we all possess knowledge, but knowledge puffs up, love builds up." So love actively transforms because it sees and acts on those possibilities in its best form. It's able to put aspects of knowledge away for a moment. Possibilities that are in view because a position of blessed ignorance is taken as to the outcome. This can be the most difficult in areas that are closest to our hearts, our wounds. It's a good thing that this light comes in really small at first. So illumination isn't just seeing what we already know, or confirming our suspicions, our fears. Illumination is to see something new and to truly see it. So blessed ignorance is something that's also cultivated. It's the practice of being present and aware of what you don't know. So the cynic thinks they've seen it all. This year will be another rerun. This experience, this interaction, another rerun. Hope requires a sense that we have not determined the future or the outcome. Again, not only for ourselves, but for others. The sense that a new journey will not necessarily turn out the way the last one did. It will not be a rerun, but a rebirth. If we can't really listen if we think we already know. Instead, we often miss that true spark as we mistakenly been looking for something else we thought we knew. Not only are we missing the possibility, we focused in on a thing. We think this is what's going to happen, and we're focused on it. I was quite focused on seeing a little electronic system, right? Not this beautiful spark my son had found. Letting go of what we think the light is going to show us, our preconceived notions, and letting the light reveal what's there. Blessed ignorance. We have to come into it with that. Not easy. If we think we know, then why should we ask for help? This affects our communities. If we think we know, why would we help others to illumine our path? Why would we ask others to help us? What spark or insight could they ever offer us? So may we embrace that ignorance and that as a possibility for opportunity and connection. So then what are we seeking? So the winter solstice, I would argue most of the celebrations we find this time of year point to a rebirth of light. We've not only come through the fall, this kind of ever-growing stillness, this time to reflect, we have compressed, and at some point we need to push for hope into something to actively return. And I think rebirth is a great metaphor here. It highlights a couple important things. The start of a new journey. Another turn of the wheel. It's movement. Rebirth is movement. A movement that has a relationship with the darkness it's moving from, and will most likely find ourselves there again. Illumination can denote a beginning, like a baby being born and seeing everything new. A childlike vision. A new path full of opportunities and possibilities, and again, not a rerun of the same thing. Same crap, different day, as we like to say. With all that we experience, this isn't always a simple task. It's a journey we make. In many of these stories and celebrations, we are seeing not the full light, these holidays that we see this time of year. There's not a developed view just yet. Justice and healing hasn't quite come. So, Christmas is coming up. Jesus will only be a baby. After a lot of journeys to the Nativity, Jesus is a baby. It's a start. The Buddha, the Enlightenment is generally celebrated this time of year, but it's just the Enlightenment. The Buddha hasn't started to teach. No one's on the path yet. The path is beginning. The Buddha has come there from a very difficult path. The Magi are seeking as well. For the Jewish people, the temple has just been restored after a battle and restoration. It's a new beginning. Right? So the light is breaking and there's a new path unfolding, and that's what we're celebrating. So illumination is often the sight, the vision of what's to come. Not the justice we're longing for, not yet, it's the path. The way to which we're seeking, be that safety, healing, peace, or justice. We have reflected in this stillness. We've come through a path often quite difficult, and At this point, we're seeing the spark of what could be. So as we get ready to walk the spiral today, what is it that we're looking for? What has come to us in the stillness? What has the path brought us to? What difficulty has brought us to this time of stillness? What are we looking for? Do we have an expectation of how this new spark will be? One that might be a hindrance to our vision? Are we open to a rebirth or a new way, a new path? What do we come to the spiral with today? Longing, hurts, needs for healing, expectations, regrets, disappointments, joys, or triumphs? In the environment right now, we're waiting for something to turn, something to spark hope and a way and a path through the winter. What are we journeying for? Do we even know? Addressing that question itself may be the journey we're on, the spark we need to see, a path to even answer that question. And that's fun. What are we looking for as the wheel yet turns once again? So today, as we walk the spiral, there's kind of 3 meditations I'd like to offer you. As we walk into the spiral, let us reflect on our journeys that we have come to this time of illumination, the longing, the hope, and often the hard paths we've trod. As we come to the center and light a candle, let us reflect on finding that new spark, the new vision and hope, and reflect on the challenge that it can be to find, accept, and nurture. And as we begin to exit, let us reflect on the first steps we take on a new beginning, a rebirth of the light, and the new possibilities that we may have found.
Thank you, James. So I'm going to show us how we're going to do this. For those who are new, what we're going to do is there will be, are we lighting from the chalice or? Yeah. Okay. So we will have a candle in the middle that Janine will be lighting. You are welcome to come in this way and take a taper at the top, light from the inner candle, and put on these little candles down here. If you don't feel comfortable with open flame, that's fine. There are still a few LED lights as well. And just take this time to meditate, to think about what's happened this year, what's new in this upcoming year and during this season of stillness. Also, if you had brought your chalice today, there is a table back here that you can place up here as well, and there are a few matches that you can light from our chalice as well.
So I'm going to be lighting this candle from the chalice and then entering the spiral, lighting the center candle, as she said. I'm waiting for Gail to get the drum, which, are you ready? There she is, okay. Here we go. There she is.
we welcome the return of the light. And before we blow out our candles, if you don't mind, join me in singing Dona Nones Pacem twice. We'll do that in unison. If you don't know it, you can just follow along with me. Dona nobis pacem pacem Donis pacem Dona nobis pacem pacem That was beautiful. This congregation, and you can now blow out your candles, sorry. Though we may blow out the candles, the light will still be within us. This congregation and the work that we do is supported by the voluntary generosity of all those who contribute. The offering is a sacrament of the free church. You may place your donation in the plate as it comes to you or on your way out, or use the QR codes on the screen, or donate to via our website, or mail checks directly to our office. As we enjoy the music, the offering will be given and received in a grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values. We thank you for these gifts. May we use them wisely in the service of our congregation and community. If you have any questions about Unitarian Universalism or about joining this congregation, speak with one of our members of our membership team. Where are they? Or you can also email membership@uucbg.org. We do have a bit of community news. So we are, of course, needing suggestions for our third Sunday beneficiaries. For those who don't know, every third Sunday, the plate goes to a designated beneficiary. But if you have any ideas, you can send your suggestions to socialjustice@uucbg.org before the 31st. We also have our yearly Christmas potluck will be at 2 p.m. on Christmas Day in the Fellowship Hall. Everyone is welcome. A sign-up sheet is in the lobby. Maybe the hospitality team will be out of town.
And please, you don't have to know what you're bringing, just sign up right now. It's like there's only 3 people coming. You know, and I know that's not true. So please sign up. It's right here in the lobby.
Thank you, Deanie. Also, to all those who celebrate, we want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah. All right, so a UUCBG trans support group will meet at 5:30 on Tuesday, December 26th in the Fellowship Hall. It is open to you members and friends, as well as other folks in the community, and please get the word out about it. All right, and then please mark your calendars for the Kwanzaa celebration on Friday, December 27th. We're asking for donations of cornbread and non-perishable food items. Details are going to,
Sorry, don't eat the cornbread this year because it's being catered.
even fancier. There is no cornbread, because no neat cornbreads are not needed because it's being catered this year. Thank you, Deanie. And then next week's service is with the Reverend Dr. Deanie Olivia called Get Ready. Excited to hear that. And then, if you have any more for more news, please subscribe to our monthly newsletter and weekly update via email, via our website and our Facebook page, and check out the bulletin boards which are out here in the lobby. Also, as always, we appreciate your feedback about today's service. You can either email us at Sunday-services, at uucbg.org, or you leave a paper note in the blue suggestion box out in the lobby. There is also an online form that can be reached via the link in our YouTube channel or by scanning the QR code, which is on the bulletin board and then the welcome brochure. And of course, as always, our website and our Facebook group and Facebook page and groups are always available online. Our last hymn is Return Again. It is number 1011 in the gray hymnal. Please rise if you're willing and able. Teal hymnal, I'm so sorry. Our final reading today is Our Journey to Transform by Elizabeth Wynn. As Unitarian Universalists, our journey is to transform the big and the small, to transform ourselves and to transform the world. Universalism means that no one is outside the circle of love and no one is disposable. We stubbornly seek out the spark of the divine in each other, no matter what. Interdependence means that none of us is truly free until we are all free, and our thriving is bound upon the earth's thriving. No one is truly free till we are all free. We struggle for liberation from the violence of white supremacy, sexism, ableism, classism, and heterosexism. Our covenants mean we make promises to our communities to honor love and justice above all else. We make promises to honor and love and justice above all else. We bid farewell to all those who have joined us online. We hope you found this service meaningful, and we invite you to join us again, either in person or online. Be in well, and go in peace.